Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Bill Howe Family of Companies, providing San Diego with plumbing, heating, and air restoration, flood and remodeling services for over 40 years. Call 1-800-BILL-HOWE or visit billhowe.com. And by the Conrad Trebas Foundation, Darlene Marcos Shiley, and by the following. And by viewers like you. Thank you.
Hundreds of healthcare workers are taking their demands to the streets. Thank you for joining us. I'm Maya Trabulsi. Workers across Sharp healthcare facilities in San Diego County started unionizing last June, but they still don't have a contract. KPBS reporter John Carroll has more on their demands and how they're being received.
Hundreds of Sharp healthcare workers represented by the Service Employees International Union took their protest over not having a contract right to the doorstep of Sharp corporate headquarters in Kearney Mesa today.
We're only asking for simple things, which is to come meet us in good faith at bargaining and solve the staffing crisis.
Joni Vargas works as a phlebotomist at Sharp. She's also on the union negotiating team.
What Sharp projects is in stark contrast to the realities that we face as workers.
They will have to answer to us all!
Vargas says the main issues are lack of adequate staffing and fair pay. SEIU says Sharp Healthcare made more than $1 billion in net income in the 2020-2021 fiscal year, and that CEO Chris Howard got paid nearly $2.5 million in 2022.
Naturally, we asked Sharp Healthcare for their response to what's been said out here today. They wouldn't provide anyone to go on camera. Instead, they issued a rather lengthy statement.
Part of it addresses wages. Sharp says it supports the state's new minimum wage law for healthcare workers, which puts wages at $23 an hour this year, $24 next year, and $25 in 2026. The union says Sharp has been slow walking negotiations, but Sharp says it's the union that has dragged things out by waiting until 5 months after bargaining began to introduce their proposal on wages. Joni Vargas says the union presented their demands up front.
I'm a single mom of 2 daughters. I have to work between 60 to 70 hours a week.
Fatima Golem works as a certified nursing assistant at Sharp Grossmont. The back and forth over negotiations isn't what she's thinking about.
I love working for Sharp Grossmont, and I love my team, and I love everyone that I work side by side. I don't want to leave that job because I can't make enough, because I'm not making enough. I want to stay there. I want to work for them. So please come with us to the bargaining table.
Both sides say they're heading back to the bargaining table later this month. Meanwhile, expect union members to continue holding rallies. John Carroll, KPBS News.
Nurses at Rady Children's Hospital say they are planning to strike again later this month. The announcement comes after the nurses union rejected the third and latest offer by the hospital. They're asking for increased wages and decreased medical premiums. The 5-day strike is slated to begin on August 19th.
Our marine layer sticks with us tonight, and there will be a little bit of patchy fog mixing in, but our story is we're trying to warm things up heading into Saturday in some locations. I'll have more in your forecast to come ahead.
Enforcement of one of the strictest homeless encampment bans in the county began today in Escondido. The ordinance was passed by Escondido City Council in June. It bars people from camping within 500 feet of a school, shelter, parks, or transit hubs, regardless of available shelter beds. Those in existing encampments will receive a 24-hour notice to clear out or face a misdemeanor or possible fines. The annual Veterans Village of San Diego Stand Down runs through the weekend. KPBS Military and Veterans Affairs reporter Andrew Dyer has more about this year's event.
800 volunteers and community groups are part of this year's stand down at the South County Lighthouse in National City. Veterans Village President and CEO Akila Templeton says the annual event is a one-stop shop for veterans who are homeless or at risk of becoming homeless.
So it's a great opportunity for us to actually bring our homeless veterans in, show them that we care about them, and get them access to some much needed resources in a very short period of time.
Veterans can get meals and a place to sleep for 2 nights. Showers, haircuts, medical and dental services are available, as are court services, so they can clear any tickets or warrants. VA representatives will help veterans enroll in VA healthcare and apply for disability benefits. Templeton says they're making a big push this year to help veterans get into stable housing. They're inviting landlords to come and learn about the financial benefits of renting to veterans.
This year, for landlords who come to Stand Down, we're offering up to $2,000 as an incentive.
Over the years, the event's had a lot of success. Templeton says it's a model across the country.
Stand Down actually started about 35 years ago, right here in San Diego. So a lot of people don't know that because the event has been replicated across the country.
Veterans Village is running shuttles from different parts of the county beginning at 6 a.m. Friday. The Stand Down runs through Sunday. For more information, visit vvsd.net. Andrew Dyer, KPBS News.
Former President Donald Trump and Vice President Kamala Harris have now agreed to a debate, and it is set to take the stage together September 10th on ABC. But until then, the two will compete for attention on the campaign trail. Julia Benbrook has the latest.
Since she became the Democratic presidential nominee, Vice President Kamala Harris has held several high-energy rallies, proving that Donald Trump is not the only candidate who can draw a crowd. Her campaign estimates her biggest rally so far had about 15,000 attendees, a detail that seems to be getting under the former president's skin.
Are you worried at all about the size of Harris's crowds?
Oh, give me a break.
Trump has long been known for drawing large crowds himself, but also for hyper-fixating on how many people attend his events and exaggerating those numbers.
In history, for any country, nobody's had crowds like I have.
With Harris experiencing momentum, Trump tried to take back the narrative with an hour-long, sometimes meandering news conference on Thursday. He proved he's ready to go on the attack, criticizing her intelligence and pushing her to take more questions from reporters.
She hasn't done an interview. She can't do an interview. She's barely competent. And she can't do an interview.
Harris, who has not done a sit-down interview since President Joe Biden withdrew from the race, says she's working to get one on the calendar.
I've talked to my team. I want us to get an interview scheduled before the end of the month.
And after lots of back and forth, the presidential debate hosted by ABC is now on the schedule. The two candidates agreed to meet September 10th. Reporting in Washington, I'm Julia Benbrook.
And younger voters could have a higher turnout for November's presidential election, and a group of North County students wants to make sure their peers are informed while having a good time. KPBS North County reporter Tanya Thorne has a preview of Saturday's event.
A group of North County students wants younger generations to be more engaged this upcoming election. They're hosting Rock the Vote this Saturday in Carlsbad with things all generations enjoy: music, food, and giveaways.
Right, we're trying to increase youth voter literacy. We're going to have a lot of free music and some food stalls, and as Mahika mentioned, civic organizations. And the entire idea is just to remind young voters that, you know, they should express their opinions through their vote.
Sonali Sharma, Mahika Janiha, and Alina Kim are some of the event organizers. They are all in high school and very close to voting in their first election. So when organizing this event, they wanted to be intentional in getting the youth's attention.
We felt like not many young people would want to come out because they weren't quite interested in civic engagement. So that's why we decided to invite lots of school organizations, lots of student-run organizations, as well as student-run bands, and as well as a ton of food trucks because kids love food.
The nonpartisan event is to help youth get informed about their options and connect with local civic organizations.
And the civic organizations are going to be speaking one-on-one to attendees who come pass by the event, just about the general elections and voting, and just to spread awareness.
Carlsbad Council member Priya Patel helped organize the event. She says it's refreshing to see younger youth wanting to be informed and involved.
This day and age, especially with so much going on in the political climate, seeing their energy, their excitement to want to continue to make a difference and make a change and inspire future generations, I think continues to inspire me to want to do that work.
Pat Patel adds the event is for all ages and presents an opportunity for older generations to connect with younger ones.
They want to make sure everyone's voice is heard. They want to make sure everyone is being represented, that everyone has an ability to show up. And I think you can see that with the event that they've put together.
Rock the Vote is happening this Saturday at McGee Park in Carlsbad from 4 to 7 p.m. Tanya Thorne, KPBS News.
As the Paris Games come to a close this weekend, the next Olympic city is swinging into action for 2028. This will be Los Angeles' third time hosting the Olympics and the first time hosting the Paralympic Games. Ivan Rodriguez has a look at how City is preparing.
Paris is out. Los Angeles is in. The glitz and glamour of Hollywood, Pacific Ocean beaches, and the iconic backdrop of LA's skyline all coming together for a blockbuster Olympics in 2028. But this isn't the City of Angels' first rodeo. The year was 1984. Ronald Reagan was president, Prince topped the Billboard charts, and video game arcades were all the rage, even inside the UCLA Olympic Village. In 2028, the sprawling campus will once again serve as housing for Olympians, about 15,000 of them. LA is not building any new venues, rather it will adapt existing ones, like the Memorial Coliseum for Olympic and Paralympic sports.
We know that Angelenos will benefit from the preparation and hosting of the games.
Organizers are learning from Paris after athletes complained of uncomfortable beds, lack of air conditioning, and food shortages. But a major concern for LA is traffic. Special Olympic lanes, work-from-home policies, and nighttime deliveries to the Olympic Village might help keep the city moving.
Let's get ready for 4 years from now. Go LA!
More opportunities for Team USA to get a gold medal, now on U.S. soil. I'm Ivan Rodriguez reporting.
And KPBS has been following the Paris 2024 Olympics online. You can find a recap of all of the athletes from San Diego who are bringing home medals on our website. Just go to kpbs.org/Olympics.
I'm Amna Nawaz. Tonight on the NewsHour, as tensions simmer in the Middle East, what needs to be done to avoid a wider war. That's coming up at 7 after Evening Edition on KPBS.
As heat waves continue, isolated seniors in rural areas are at greater risk. KPBS health reporter Heidi DeMarco shows us how volunteers are helping them stay safe in extreme temperatures.
Welfare check point 9. My name is Stacy Coble. I'm 63 years old. I've been a volunteer of the Sheriff Volunteer Patrol for the past 2 years.
I gotta get the mileage. I already did.
Oh, you did? All right.
I take care of you.
You sure I am my dad's partner. We cover a 400-mile radius. We are out in the backcountry. We go as far as the Imperial County line up to the Cuyamaca Mountains to Potrero and right along the border.
Stacy Coble and her dad, Bill Husky, work out of the Pine Valley Sheriff Station. They're among 336 sheriff volunteers who check on elderly and disabled people living alone in San Diego County. Today, they're visiting 82-year-old George Floor and his dog Olive.
How are you surviving in the heat?
Oh, I'm making it. He used to be a logger, but he lives way out in the East County and lives in a little trailer, him and his dog. And we've been going and seeing George now for at least 5 years.
So we make sure that they are happy, they're safe. We can't always control the weather or the conditions that they live in, but if they say they're hungry, then we reach out to Meals on Wheels, PACE. We try to find every resource that there is that could help make their lives a little better.
George, hey, how are you, my brother? George, a neighbor signed him up, but a lot of the people that are signed up, a deputy has been called out on a welfare check, sees what's going on, and they get them signed up. Now, the person has to agree to it, that we can come by and visit them every day.
I just love it when they come out here and check on me. Yeah, I got sugar diabetes. And the last thing I want to do is go into a diabetic coma and lay there and die. You know, so I really like it when people come out here and check on this old fart, you know.
Seniors are expected to make up 40% of rural households by 2030, according to the Urban Institute. In San Diego County, nearly 101,000 seniors are spending their golden years alone and facing increased health risks in solitude.
Some of them don't have any air conditioning, and it is 100 degrees out here. Right now we're going through a real hot spell, but it's every summer. So we check on them to make sure that they're getting some kind of relief from the weather, making sure they have water, making sure they have food.
Heat poses greater risks for older adults, especially those with pre-existing conditions, social isolation, or limited access to air conditioning.
How am I doing with the heat? Not very good. Not very good. I got an air conditioner, but I don't like to run it because I don't have that much money, you know? You know what I mean? It just costs a fortune, so I got a fan going in there.
Heat can be especially challenging for individuals with emphysema, a chronic obstructive pulmonary disease that heightens the risk of breathing difficulties.
You know, it's nice to have somebody looking forward to seeing me, which is very unusual, but... Oh, I got emphysema.
Oh, dear.
Heat wave studies reveal that older adults living alone face the highest risk of heat-related death. A University of Waterloo study calls for policy reforms to enhance air conditioning access for seniors in the southern U.S. It recommends both mandatory air conditioning in new homes and solutions to reducing operating costs.
Oh, Olive, honey, I love you so. You're keeping this old man alive, aren't you?
It's sad because when you talk to them, they all have families, and a lot of them say, well, they never come and visit us.
3 girls and a boy, and I love every one of them dearly. 2 of them I wouldn't know if I saw them on the street. That's how long I've been away from them. Yeah, I love my kids. Oh, well.
I wish this program was more known. I am sure there are a lot of people that could benefit, and it's all over San Diego County.
I don't know what to do without people checking on me, you know. Find me dead, you know.
Well, we're not going to do that. You're going to be here a long, long time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I have no intention of passing it.
Good.
I'm too young.
That's right.
Heidi DeMarco, KPBS News.
The Centers for Disease Control will begin investigating health impacts of cross-border wastewater contamination in San Diego. Members of San Diego's congressional delegation and county leaders asked the CDC for help in May. The CDC says they'll start gathering data from different agencies to evaluate whether chemicals and contaminants in the water, soil, and air may harm health. The review process will likely take between 6 and 12 months. CDC staff are also working with San Diego County health officials on a short-term response to public health issues. The city of San Diego wants to reopen Balboa Park Starlight Bowl, which has been closed for more than a decade. The Ford Motor Company built the open-air amphitheater in 1935. It had its last production in 2010. In his State of Balboa Park address last night, Mayor Todd Gloria said he's ready to bring it back.
It is high time that this special corner of the Palisades be rehabilitated and put back into productive use for the benefit of the community so that many more lifelong memories can finally be made here once again.
Today, the city put out a request for proposals from individuals and organizations interested in leasing and renovating the Starlight Bowl. The city says it's looking for innovative ideas to better incorporate the theater into Balboa Park's architectural design. Proposals are due by November 14th. Big Lots will close several stores in San Diego County. SDSU's Miro Kopik tells us more about the issues facing discount retail chains in the Friday Business Report.
Big Lots has announced that they're going to close 75 stores in California, 30 of them in Southern California, 4 in San Diego. And what's notable about this is Big Lots announced a couple of months ago they were going to shut down 115 stores nationwide. That number has since ballooned to 315. Now, to put it in context, last month's retail report, the June retail report, retail sales were pretty solid. They were consistent month over month with May. May was revised upward, so consumers are still spending. Underlying these numbers and why these dollar stores are having problems is that in retail, the people who are impacted the most are lower and lower middle income consumers. These are the core shoppers at Big Lots. This is also impacting a lot of supermarkets and big box retailers like Target and Walmart. They're pressuring manufacturers to provide bigger discounts for all consumers.
Going into the weekend, we're going to be talking about some subtle changes. We are, first and foremost, going to be warming things up as we head into Saturday. The good news is that only in a few spots, like some of the mountain locations, will be just a little bit warmer in a couple spots. And at most, it's only 5 degrees above average for us. As we work our way, though, through Saturday afternoon, probably the best chance of some thunderstorms for the next couple of days. Most of that found towards our mountainous regions. And then, of course, middle of next week, quieting things down. Not a whole lot going on Tuesday, Wednesday. So tonight the action is still out there as far as that marine layer coming in. Will be some patchy fog in a few locations. 68 for the city. As you head to El Cajon, we're going to 66. Chula Vista 66. Borrego Springs still holding on to 83 through the overnight hours. As we venture into Saturday, throughout the day, it's mostly just about the dry conditions towards the coast. We are again trying to warm things up a little bit. There will be a few showers and thunderstorms. Pretty fleeting here of a chance, but it does happen. As we go through Saturday morning, still fairly quiet, but you can see that moist pool pulling in, just a few clouds there skirting some of our mountainous areas. So we will continue to contend with some of that moisture pulling in, enhanced by the monsoonal region there, which is still largely off to our east at this point. As we head through your Saturday forecast, high temperatures back into the upper 70s here for San Diego. More sunshine breaking out. Watch out for some of those thunderstorms, places like Mount Laguna in the upper 70s there. Coastal locations, 80s through the weekend and into Monday. As we add in a little bit more humidity, we still start off with our typical morning clouds, the marine layer giving way to more afternoon sunshine. Inland communities, we're lower 90s for the weekend before tapering off a little bit on Monday. So that trend still keeps us fairly mild for the upcoming days. Brighter, though, by Sunday as we add in some more sunshine and get rid of some of those high clouds that'll be more prone farther to the east. Mountainous areas, watch out for that afternoon thunderstorm as we head through Saturday. And as you go into the desert, we will continue to see that chance for just a straight thunderstorm or two Saturday afternoon. For KPBS, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Melissa Constancer.
Monday is the first day of school for San Diego Unified, and while students may not have to tote around textbooks these days, all the other supplies that they have to bring to school can make their book bags pretty heavy. Mandy Gaither talks to a pediatric orthopedist about how to wear a backpack properly to prevent injuries.
From binders to notebooks, paper and pencils, all the stuff students squish into their bags can make the school day feel a little heavy.
A backpack that doesn't fit correctly or that weighs too much, though, can cause muscle strains, back pain, and even numbness and tingling.
Dr. Sajith Azurf with Children's Healthcare of Atlanta says one of the easiest ways to measure if a backpack fits properly is to measure from the bump at the bottom of the neck to the top of the hip.
That's how long you want the backpack to be.
To help protect against injuries, Azurf says the backpack should have 2 broad padded straps as well as multiple compartments. Having a chest strap or waist strap is also a good idea. He says all of these things will help distribute weight evenly. Next, pack the heaviest items closest to the child's back and make sure it doesn't weigh more than about 10 to 15% of their body weight.
If your child is walking with their bag and they're leaning forward, the backpack is probably a little too heavy. So sometimes even splitting some of that stuff to another, like a handbag or a little disposable grocery bag.
A properly worn backpack can also help prevent injury. Azurf says to make sure it sits about 1 to 2 inches below the shoulders and doesn't go more than 4 inches past the belly button.
You want the backpack to kind of sit in the middle of the back, essentially. So you might have to adjust the straps and make it snug.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
KPBS Roundtable is helping families get ready for the start of a new school year with discussions on everything from concerns about AI in the classroom to making up for pandemic setbacks. You can listen at kpbs.org or wherever you stream your podcasts. They are mystical, shy, very interesting looking creatures. If you have never seen a platypus, you can at the San Diego Zoo Safari Park. In fact, it is the only zoo outside of Australia where you can do so. Wildlife health workers here are working in partnership with the Australian Zoo to save the endangered animal against the effects of climate change. The Platypus research program launched last month by the Taronga Zoo and the University of New South Wales in Australia in hopes to learn how they live, how they breed and survive through climate change, and learn when to rescue and when to set them free.
Platypus is an excellent example, an excellent ambassador in sort of a bad way of how wildlife gets impacted by climate change. There are already dire conditions, there's already pressures, stressors on these animals, and then many of those things a lot of times get exacerbated by climate change.
And there's more. Researchers also want to build a genome bank to keep breeding diverse. Since 1943, only 23 platypus babies have been born in captivity. And you can find tonight's stories on our website, kpbs.org. Thanks for joining us. I'm Maya Trabulsi. Good night.
Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Bill Howe Family of Companies, providing San Diego with plumbing, heating, and air restoration, flood and remodeling services for over 40 years. Call 1-800-BILL-HOWE or visit billhowe.com. And by the Conrad Prebys Foundation, Darlene Marco Shiley, and by the following. And by viewers like you. Thank you.